back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of our subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to our YouTube channel. I appreciate all of the love and all of your support. Okay, so in today's video, I'm doing this is like a beginner's video. So this is like a basic dress block that as a beginner, once you're coming into sewing, this is like the first pattern that you should know as a beginner how to cut. So once you know how to draft this pattern, you actually don't have any problem. This pattern actually is like the pattern. When I say the pattern, that's like the ultimate pattern in sewing. So you need a basic dress block. So as a beginner, so today I'm going to be doing this video on how to do this in a very simple and easy way. And so with this pattern, you can actually adapt this pattern into any style of your choice as you grow in your sewing career. So I have my pattern paper already lined out. So I'm going to explain. I have some couple of lines here. I'm going to explain all of the lines. I'm going to make this video very detailed because it is a beginner video. So I'm going to try as much as I can to make it very detailed. So if you are new to Stylish Naija YouTube channel, you are very and highly welcome. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe and then hit on the bell also to get an update whenever I upload a new video. And then if you want to register for our online classes, you can see my number scrolling through the screen. Just send me a message on WhatsApp and then I'll send you the details of the classes that we have available presently. Okay, so now let's get started. So for a basic dress block for a beginner, if you want to fold, for instance, if you are not making use of a pattern, you want to make use of your fabric. The way for you to fold your fabric, you are going to fold it into two, and the way for you to fold it, you are going to use the biggest part of your measurement, which is your hip measurement. For instance, if I'm using hip of 40, so when you fold your fabric into two, you divide your hip measurement, you divide it into four, because you know for the front piece you have two pieces and then the back piece you have two pieces, so that makes it four. So you divide your hip measurement into four. So when you divide 40 into four, you have 10 inches. So that 10, you add about 5 inches to it. So you fold your fabric at 15 inches. So for instance, if you are making use of a fabric, you can fold at 15. So this is like 15 inches now. So you can fold your fabric, and then once you insert your measurement, it's going to work fine for you. But I'm making use of a pattern. So since this is a pattern, I don't really care about and waste. So my pattern paper is just folded. So the first line that I have up here, this is like my shoulder line, and it's going to serve also as my startup line. So it's just a line, it's just like a start. And then from this line, I'm going to place my tape like this. I have a bust point line. If you don't know how to take accurate body measurement, I'll drop the link of how to take measurement on the description box of this video, so you can watch it and then you understand everything I'm talking about. So this is the bust point, which is your nipple point, that's 10 inches. And then the under bust is 13 inches. This is 13 inches. So I'm going to just label them. This is my bust point, this is my shoulder line, and then this is my under bust line. And then from my under bust line, I have my half cut, which is like my waist measurement, which is 19. That's my waist measurement. And then for your hip measurement, what you are going to do from your waist measurement, you are going to add about 10, between 9 and 10 inches. For people that are average height, you can use 9. For people that are tall, you use 10. So once you place your tape like this, you measure about 9 or 10 inches. This is going to be your hip line. So this is where you are going to insert your hip measurement. So once you insert your hip measurement here, the dress is going to be perfect. And then the next measurement you are going to measure is your full length. So for this dress, the full length of the dress is actually 41 inches. So you could see the line there. So these are the lines that I have here. So I'm just going to place it like this as full length. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to measure our shoulder measurement, because this is our shoulder line. So we'll insert our shoulder measurement here. So the shoulder measurement that I'm using is 14. So you divide it into 2. So you place your tape like this. So when you divide 14 into 2, you have 7 inches, and then you add 1 inch to it for allowance. So this is 8 inches. So from this 8 inches, I'm just going to come down a little bit by 1 inch like this, and then I'm going to slope it Okay, let me just leave that. Let me leave that first. So from this place, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. I'm going to mark it like this. And then from this point like this, I'm just going to mark my armhole. So for the armhole, I'm using 8 inches. So this is 8 inches. So you just come like this, mark 8 inches. That's from that line. You mark 8 inches from your armhole and then you take it to this part. So this is your armhole line. You can actually use this line as your chest line. You can extend it like this and use it as your chest line also. So for this, it's actually not needed. So that is why I just left it. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to slope my shoulder. So you remember that 1 inch that I highlighted here. So I'm just going to mark it like this. And then I'm going to slope it into the neckline point like this. Okay, so you see it, I've sloped it. So the next thing, I'm going to insert my armhole measurement. So for the armhole, I'm just going to take my pattern curve like this. I'll place it nicely, and then I'm going to create I'm going to create a armhole. So inside this part like this, you can do half of an inch or quarter of an inch. You can come in because this is the front armhole. You can come in a little bit. So I'm just going to use like that half of an inch. So I'll place my pattern paper like this. Sorry, my pattern curve like this, and then I'm going to mark. So I'll mark it out now. So when I'm transferring to the back one, I'll make it a little bit bigger. So I'll show you as we go along. So the next thing we're going to do now, so we've done our armhole. The next thing now, we're going to insert our bust measurement. So your bust measurement, you insert it on this bust span line. That's on this bust line. So for the bust I'm making is of 36. So you divide 36 into 4. Once you divide 36 into 4, you are going to have 9 inches. You are going to take your tape like this, and then this is 9 inches. You mark your 9 inches. My marker is almost finished, and I'm not sure I have any one available. So we'll just manage along. So this is 9 inches. So I'm going to add allowance to it. So I'm going to add about 2.5 inches allowance to it. So you can add 1 inch, depends on what you want. So for mine, I'll add 2.5 inches. So from this point like this, I'm just going to mark it like this, like this. So the next thing I'm going to mark is my under bust measurement. So my under bust, you divide your under bust measurement into 2 also, and then I'm going to add my under bust measurement. So my under bust measurement is 32. So once I add the 32 here, once you divide 32 into 4, I'm going to have 8 inches. So this is 8 inches. And then I'm going to add my 2.5 inches that I added before. That 2.5 inches, I'm going to add an extra 1 inch. Why? Because I'm going to take out waste that. So now the allowance I'm adding to this one now. So I'll just add my same 2.5 that I added initially. That's it. And then I'll add that my 1 inch that I'll take out. I'll take it out from the dart. So from this point like this, I'm just going to just keep going along. I'll mark it like that. The next measurement here, what we have here is the waist measurement. The waist, that's this part. If you can see it, that's your waist measurement. So from that waist measurement, I'm going to mark like this. So you are going to divide your waist measurement also. You divide it into 4. So my waist measurement is actually 34. So I'm just trying to use my head to calculate it. It's like I can't remember that math again. So let me just respect myself and fold my tape. Okay, so I have it here. It's almost like 9 inches. So I got it. I got it before. So I'm going to add that same 2.5 inches allowance to it. And then I'm still going to add my dart allowance to it also. Note. So from this part now, just note what I'm going to do. I'm going to come like this. So once I get to this part, I'm not going to use straight like this again, because from this part now I'm going to be shaping the dress. So from this part, I'm going to add my hip measurements on this. So for the hip measurements, I'm going to use 40 inches for my hip. So when you divide 40 into 4, you have 10 inches. So I'm going to add that same 2.5 inches. So from this point, I just want you to note what I'm doing. I'm just going to, like, I'm making like a curve like this, because you see I cannot come straight, you understand? See where my mark is. So that is why I'm just trying to slant it to go and meet my curve. So you see it automatically, see the dress is having shape. I hope you can see it. Let me double check. So from this point, what I'm going to do on the hip part, I'm going to come down to maintain my curve. I'm going to come down with about 2 inches, a little bit, just to extend my curve a little bit. So from this part, I'm going to use my pattern curve now, so that I'll get the shape. I want the shape to, so you can see what we have. So the next thing, from this point now, I'm going to take it down. I'm making the down part of the dress a pencil dress, because it is a basic dress. So I'm just going to make it a little bit slimmer, so it will have a very beautiful shape. But normally, if you want, for those people that don't want fitted, you can actually take what you have here on the hip, and then you just bring it back to your hemline, and then you extend it. That's what I have here now. I can just take it like this, and then bring it here, and just mark it like this, you understand? And then I'll just curve it. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'll show you the other one. So you just mark it straight like this. So this now, once you are doing a basic dress that the down will just be straight, you can just make it like this, and then just blend it in like this. But if you want something that the down is a little bit slim, all you are going to do, what you have here, remember what you have here, you are going to take out about 3 inches, 2 inches, depends on what you want from what you have here. So you can take out about 2 inches like this. So this is 2 inches, and then that 2 inches, I'm trying to, you're just going to take, remember, from this point like this, from this point, you're just going to slope it in like this from that hip line. You just like create a slant like this. This one is even worse than the first one. So you just create a slope. So this one now, we are eliminating this, so we're not using this. So I just want you to see how the two, they are looking like, you understand? So you see this, you see the dress is properly shaped. But if you do that one of just making it straight, you know, this kind of dress is not going to be very fitted. The basic dress is not going to be very fitted. It's just going to, the down is just going to be like all over the place. So that's the difference between reducing the down, the hemline, by 2 inches or 3 inches, depending on how small you want it to be. So this is our basic dress. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to insert the neckline. So for the neckline, you can choose any neckline of your choice. So I'll just do a basic neckline. So for the basic neckline, we'll use about 3.5 inches. And then we'll mark, you come to this point like this, you mark your 3.5 inches. And then for the depth of the neckline, so for this pattern, I'm going to use this pattern but for both the back and the front. So for the back neckline, the depth of the back neckline, I'm going to use 1.5 inches. So this is 1.5 inches. Okay, so like I said, the front neckline, the width of the neckline is 3.5. So this is 3.5. And then for the back neckline, I'm going to use 1.5. So this is 1.5. So from this point like this, I'm just going to curve, just like create it like a round. So I'll create like a round curve here like this. So this is for the back neckline. Then the front neckline, I'm going to extend it a little bit. So for the front neckline, you can measure however you want to, depends on what you want. So for this, let's mark 5 inches. It's only the depth of the neckline. That's what is going to be different. The width is going to be the same. Just please take note. Make sure that they are on the same point. Oh my. Okay. So that's for the front neckline, and then this is the back neckline. So for the back armhole, I'm just going to come like this for the back armhole. I'm going to add just 1 inch to the back armhole like this. Just take your pattern like this. and then you curve it. So I'll just mark it for you to see what I'm trying to do. That's the extra 1 inch that I added. I hope you can see this. So just mark it in. So now this is the back armhole, this is the front armhole. You see, it is a very simple process for you to draft your basic dress. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to cut it out. So I'm going to cut. Okay, so for the neckline, I will not cut out the neckline when I'm transferring to the fabric. So you can see how our basic gown block is looking. So you see it is looking beautiful. So you see the shape, everything is well inserted. The next thing I'm going to add, I'm going to add the dart. So for this, I'm just going to add a regular waist dart. So for the dart, you can make use of your bust span measurement. So for this, my bust span, which is from one nipple to another, is 4 inches. So I'm just going to mark 4 inches like this from my bust line to my waistline. Let me let me help myself. So I'm going to use pen. So I'll just mark it like this and then I'll connect it to the straight line. So I hope you can see it. I'll just try and highlight it as much as I can. So that's the that. So what I'm going to do, so for this that you can decide how many inches as in you want to take out. So once if you are taking out 1 inch, make sure you add it into your measurement. If it is 2 inches, you add it into your measurements. So what I'm just going to do from this part now, so I'm going to come from my bust line, I'm just going to come down by 1 inch, and then from my waistline I'm going to come up 2 inches. So from this point I'm just going to take this like this. So on the side I'm going to take half of an inch on my under bust and then half of an inch here. So this that you can actually insert it however you want to. You can run it up to that point. Some you can run it below your waistline. So it depends on how much that you want to take out. So I hope you can see it. So with this, so you can see my dart. So once I sew, I'm just going to insert my basic dart with that inside of my pattern. So guys, so at the end of the day, so you see how our basic beginners dress block is looking like. So thank you so much. I've now come to the end of this tutorial. Before I round up, if you are transferring this, if you want to cut out the back pattern, you are going to cut out everything the same way. You understand? You're going to cut it out the same way. The only thing that you're going to add to it is that you're going to add zipper allowance on the back of your pattern. So for instance, like this, depends on how many inches of allowance you are using. If it is 1 inch, just make the back piece a little bit longer, adding that extra 1 inch. So that's just like the difference. So thank you so much. If you find this video helpful, I hope this video is helpful for a beginner. So thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. God bless you.